We still know very little about what's in store for 2021's new Ghostbusters sequel, Ghostbusters Afterlife, but we're very excited about what's next. Here's what we know so far about director Jason Reitman's foray into a new neighborhood with something strange. The first reports of Jason Reitman's involvement in a new Ghostbusters film arrived in January 2019. Reitman soon confirmed via his Twitter account that the film would hit theaters on July 10, 2020. Then COVID-19 happened, and Ghostbusters Afterlife has been moved back multiple times since. The film was initially bumped to March 5, 2021, then a new release date of June 11, 2021 was set. After those both fell through, Sony moved the release date back first to November 11th, then to November 19th. That would seem to be the date that will finally stick. It seems like a lifetime ago now, but when the initial teaser that announced the film dropped in January 2019, it didn't give a title. Fans simply started referring to the upcoming film as Ghostbusters 2020, assuming that the movie would actually come out that year. The title remained a mystery until December 2019, when the British Board of Film Classification, which has to approve all trailers in the UK, revealed that the approval notice for the new trailer gave the title Ghostbusters Afterlife. It's an appropriate title, given that the film is not only about ghosts, but also about legacy. Reitman has noted that his idea for the film began with a 12-year-old girl carrying a proton pack, and that image ultimately expanded to include a whole family. That 12-year-old, Phoebe, will be played by McKenna Grace, a rising young talent who's been seen in everything from Captain Marvel to Chilling Adventures of Sabrina to The Haunting of Hill House. Carrie Coon, who's shown her talents in TV series like Fargo and The Leftovers, as well as films like Gone Girl and Avengers Infinity War, plays Phoebe's mother, Callie. Finn Wolfhard, who's probably best known for Stranger Things and the It movies, plays Phoebe's brother, Trevor. In September 2019, producer Ivan Reitman revealed comedy superstar turned superhero Paul Rudd's role in the film, saying he's a seismologist who's come to this small town because they've been having mysterious earthquakes. The earthquakes are likely tied to paranormal events. Rudd's character, Mr. Gruberson, also ends up working as a summer school teacher, likely creating his connection with the family at the film's center. In June 2019, Sigourney Weaver seemed to confirm in an interview that she was indeed reprising her role as Dana Barrett. She said, "It's going to be crazy working with the guys again."
Either I have a monster in my kitchen or I'm completely crazy.
I don't think you're crazy.
Oh, good. That makes me feel so much better.
Those guys are obviously Bill Murray, Dan Aykroyd, and Ernie Hudson. Aykroyd confirmed in September 2019 that he would be returning to the franchise along with most of the original people. By the end of 2019, Murray, Hudson, and Annie Potts were also all confirmed to be on board. In early 2020, Vanity Fair ran a report from the set of Afterlife. While the publication was strictly banned from revealing anything about the plot, an extended conversation with Murray confirmed that something special was in store for the iconic characters. He said, "The script is good. It's got lots of emotion in it, it's got lots of family in it, with through lines that are really interesting. It's gonna work." Jason Reitman's feature film directorial career began in 2005 with Thank You for Smoking. Since then, he's become known for a particular style that often walks the line between comedy and drama in films like Juno, Up in the Air, Tully, Young Adult, and most recently, The Frontrunner. His films are often small in scale, exploring the intimacy and absurdity of human relationships rather than big set pieces. His comedy usually comes out of interaction between characters rather than gags. Though he's undoubtedly formed his own writing and directing style, Reitman's interest in filmmaking has its roots in family. He's the son of actress Geneviève Robert and writer-director Ivan Reitman, who notably directed the original Ghostbusters and Ghostbusters 2. The Ghostbusters franchise is an integral part of Jason Reitman's life. He even had a cameo in the 1989's Ghostbusters 2 when he was around 11 years old.
You know, my dad says you guys are full of crap.
A sci-fi comedy about ghost hunters isn't exactly in line with his previous films, but when it was announced that he would helm Afterlife, his familial ties to the franchise helped it all make sense. It took a while to see more than a few images related to Reitman's new take on Ghostbusters, and what we did see consistently leaned heavily on nostalgia. The first teaser begins with a wide shot of a large metal building in the middle of a wooded area. The camera pushes in closer and closer to the door, eventually revealing the Ghostbusters old ride Ecto-1 just sitting in storage. The first real trailer arrived in early December 2019. It largely follows the two kids at the heart of the story, Trevor and Phoebe, as they get used to their new life at their inherited farmhouse in a small Oklahoma town. But things get weird when an eerie green light starts to emit from an old pit outside of town. Mr. Gruberson explains they're also experiencing weird seismic activity that there's no logical explanation for. Then, the kids finally bring an old ghost trap they found in their farmhouse school, and Mr. Gruberson realizes they must have a connection to the Ghostbusters. It's revealed that there hasn't been a real ghost sighting in 3 decades, and the Ghostbusters, once regarded as heroes, are now forgotten legends. Phoebe and Trevor begin to seek out more information about their long-lost grandfather who owned the farmhouse. The trailer reveals he was indeed Dr. Egon Spengler, one of the original Ghostbusters. While the trailer doesn't have any new footage of the returning Ghostbusters cast, it does provide a nostalgic kick by playing Bill Murray's speech about fate from the 1984 original.
Call it fate, call it luck, call it karma. I believe that everything happens for a reason.
The second trailer, released in July 2021, has much of the same material as the first, but it does include a scene with Annie Potts' Janine Melnitz and a quick look at the arms of what definitely seems to be Dr. Raymond Stantz. Ray appears to have some numbers tattooed on one of his arms, and Jason Reitman told IGN that the numbers reference the conversation about Judgment Day between Ray and Winston Zeddemore from the first film.
I remember Revelation 7:12. And I looked as he opened the sixth seal, and behold, there was a great earthquake.
For Jason Reitman's planned sequel, recreating the same look and feel he remembered from the original films was important. With his father's connections to the beginnings of the franchise, he had the resources to make it all work. The younger Reitman went to great lengths to replicate key details from the 1980s for the sequel, up to and including finding the original letters used to make the film's posters. He explained on Bill Burr's Monday Morning podcast, "We went back to the work files for the sound of the proton pack, and we went back to the stems of Elmer Bernstein's score. We went back and found the original physical vinyl letters they used to create the Ghostbusters poster in 1984. We shot physical titles with a light and smoke effect because that's how they would have done it back in the day." When Reitman sat down with IGN to break down the second trailer, he said that, instead of trying to mimic the aesthetic of the original films using modern-day visual effects, he and his team went right back to the source. He said, "We actually found the original special effects 70mm footage and scanned it. We were always attempting to go back to the original recipe and recapture as much as humanly possible." That approach particularly applied to the ghosts in the film. The second trailer contains a gang of mini Stay-Puffed Marshmallow Men going wild in a Walmart, a giant spectral version of a terror dog, and a skeletal ghost created with a puppet meant to echo the taxi ghost from the original, according to Reitman. He said, "There's nothing like shooting with practical ghosts, with having something right there that the actors can work with." The biggest nod comes in the form of new ghost Muncher, who is similar to Slimer and pays tribute to the classic character. Reitman said, "The original Slimer was an angry dude and very scary, and we really wanted to get back to that." A complete reunion of the original 4 Ghostbusters is sadly no longer possible, since Harold Ramis, who played Dr. Egon Spengler in the first 2 Ghostbusters films, died in 2014. His death was devastating for his former castmates, who couldn't help but feel his absence while filming the latest installment. Aykroyd, who co-wrote the original films with Ramis, told Entertainment Weekly, "To have that formation without that man standing right there on the line with us was a pretty serious adjustment. He will be very well represented in the new film, I can tell you that. He's very honorably represented." Spengler's family honors his legacy in Ghostbusters Afterlife, which will end with a dedication to the man who played him. Jason Reitman confirmed to Empire Magazine. He said, "This movie is for my father, for my daughter, and for Harold. For a long time, I had the idea of a girl finding a proton pack in a barn, and I just didn't know what to do with it. When Harold passed all of a sudden, I knew who she was. It was Egon's granddaughter. It became a Spengler story." The 2016 Ghostbusters reboot, which featured a title team of 4 women, sparked controversy virtually from the moment it was announced. Some longtime Ghostbusters fans felt that the film was somehow damaging to what came before, and a wave of social media vitriol followed throughout its development and up through the film's release. Jason Reitman had nothing to do with that film, though his father was credited as a producer. Jason Reitman's new Ghostbusters project is a direct sequel to the original 2 films, so it will ignore the reboot. That fact, plus Ghostbusters 2016 star Leslie Jones's anger at being excluded from future films, meant Reitman caught flack in February 2019 when he said that he was making an effort to, quote, hand the movie back to the fans. Many took his comments as an insult to the 2016 movie and its cast led by women. Just days later, after hearing the response his comments received, Reitman clarified his remarks, noting he had, quote, nothing but admiration for the reboot and calling it an amazing movie. The director later said that Ghostbusters Afterlife was actually inspired by the 2016 film in a way. He told SFX magazine, I think that the remake proved, at least to me, the idea that the Ghostbusters could be anyone, and I expanded on this idea with Afterlife while always focusing on the family aspect and the history that was created by the original films.
Are you the Ghostbusters?
Actually, we're the conductors of the metaphysical.
Yes, we're the Ghostbusters.
Dan Aykroyd, in particular, has been trying to get the Ghostbusters series back on the big screen years before the 2016 reboot, and it does seem that the door is now open to some ideas. Those ideas apparently include a prequel called Ghostbusters High, which Aykroyd has written as a potential feature film that could launch a TV series chronicling how Peter, Ray, and Egon first met as teenagers in 1969 in New Jersey. Though he was excited about the idea, Aykroyd also cautioned that Ghostbusters High is just one of a number of ideas he and the Reitmans are exploring. Aykroyd explained to the Canadian press, "We have other stuff after the Jason Reitman-helmed movie. We have at least 1 or 2 other concepts for the Ghostbusters, and then we'll look at doing the prequel, which will be a perfect button on all we've done up to that point." In other words, if you like Ghostbusters, just keep an eye out, because we seem to be far from finished with the franchise. Check out one of our newest videos right here, plus even more Looper videos about your favorite movie franchises are coming soon. Subscribe to our YouTube channel and hit the bell so you don't miss a single one.